Hi guys, this is Brad with the Script Department. I want to jump on today to talk to you about how to write character in a screenplay. Now, this isn't how to build the entire character from scratch. This is how to put them on the page. Not being pros in screenplay, we are a visual medium. We don't necessarily have the opportunity to talk about the inner workings of a character's psyche, too much about their backstory without getting very expositional and making it quite clunky. So although when you do create a character, you will write a bio, you will create a backstory, in a way, a lot of that's just for the writer. Unless you release that for someone to see, it might never see the light of day. The tools we have to elicit this information on the page are how they speak, how they act, and how they look. These are all visual things. It's a visual medium, but we can use these in a really interesting way to sort of really build a rich character on the page. So today I want to use the screenplay for Juno by Diablo Cody. Now, Cody uses the most sublime characterization in all of her screenplays. She has this innate ability to create unique characters and then make them really relatable to the reader or the viewer. I think characters that are overly unique can sometimes be quite difficult to relate to, particularly the protagonist. But good characterization will enable that for readers and viewers to experience the character that you want them to in the way that you want them to. So I'm going to read a few sections from Juno, the first 4 pages. I know I normally do a single page, but we're going to do the first 4 pages because it's a slow burn of how we get to learn who she is. We learn bits very quickly. We learn that she's confident, she's unique, she is a little bit of a self-imposed outcast, not entirely, but she's very much a nonconformist, and we learn this very quickly. Later in the film, which we're not going to cover today, later in the film, we learn that she is very caring as well. She always wants to do the right thing. So to learn the early bit that she's a bit of a burnout, and then the later bit that she's very caring, really pulls us into the story as we're on this journey with her. So I'm going to go straight into reading this now so we can get into the nitty-gritty of it. So we're going to focus on what she says, what she does, and how she looks. So page 1, scene 1, external. Centennial Lane, dusk. Juno Macduff stands on a placid street in a nondescript subdivision, facing the curb. It's fall. Juno is 16 years old, an artfully bedraggled burnout kid. She winces and shields her eyes from the glare of the sun. The object of her rapt attention is a battered living room set, abandoned curbside by its former owners. There is a fetid-looking leather recliner, a chrome-edged coffee table, and a tasteless, latch-hooked rug featuring a roaring tiger. Now, that's a fairly sizable chunk of information, but it is literally the first time we see Juno, and we're coming in late to a scene. She's standing there staring at this this lounge set, this living room set, and from the words that are used, we understand that she likes it, the object of her rapt attention. So we immediately have this feeling that she's got interesting tastes, and the fact she likes this latched-hook roaring tiger rug and the leather easy chair, and it immediately tells us something in such a short amount of time. There's some great descriptive words in there. An artfully bedraggled burnout kid. Now that is quite poetic in the way that the amount of information that is in there. So I immediately see like a cross between Mallrats and 10 Things I Hate About You in the way that someone's an artfully bedraggled burnout, and they're a kid. We know she's 16. She's a kid. It's a lovely bit of it's a lovely visual to hook you in. You want to know what she's doing, why she's doing it. I'm actually going to jump forward a bit now. So if we go to the bottom of page 1, the end of scene 3, the last bit of action description. She swigs from an absurdly oversized carton of juice and wipes her mouth with the back of her hand. Juno marching down various streets, pumping her arms like a jogger and chugging intermittently from the huge carton of juice. We watch her breathlessly navigate suburbia, clearly on a mission. Scene 6. External drugstore, day. Finally, a panting Juno arrives at a Dancing Elk drug on the main drag of a small Minnesota suburb, Dancing Elk. The automatic doors of the store part to reveal Juno's flushed, serious face. She carelessly flings the empty juice container over her shoulder and onto the curb. A group of dropouts with skateboards near the entrance glare at her. She enters the drugstore. So again, we are getting this idea that she's very nonconformist in the way that she is. She's a 16-year-old girl, and she's marching down the street, out of breath, wiping her mouth with back of her hand, slugging juice out of this massive carton. She's immediately interesting. She's very different to what you might expect a 16-year-old girl, an American 16-year-old girl on film to be like. So she's already unique, and in what we've reviewed so far, we haven't seen her speak yet. So if we go down to the bit where she finally chats to someone in the drugstore, so we can hear a little bit more from her. So scene 7, internal drugstore, continuous. Rollo, the eccentric drugstore clerk, sneers at Juno from behind the counter. He wears a polyester uniform vest. Well, if it isn't Macduff the crime dog. Back for another test? Juno, I think the last one was defective. The plus sign looked more like a division sign. Rollo regards her with an intense skepticism. Juno replies, I remain unconvinced. So, again, she's immediately, when she opens her mouth, she's confident. This is a grown man that is judging what she's doing. She's gone in. We immediately find out she's after a pregnancy test, or at least that's what's implied here. And the way she talks to him, the way she holds herself in this conversation, immediately tells us so much about her. She's a 16-year-old girl, and this is a grown man who's running a shop. She could have walked in, he could have said, back for another test. She's like, yes, please. And he's, he could say, this is your third test today. There's no doubt about you being pregnant. She's like, please, could I have another one? That isn't what she does. She faces him. And through the dialogue, we sort of understand her mindset in a way that she's unconvinced. This is her third test today, and she's unconvinced. I've actually jumped forward a bit there. The next bit of dialogue was, this is your third test today. Mama Bear, your ego is prego, no doubt about it. So within 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of dialogue, we understand she's pregnant. This is a third one she's done within 24 hours. She doesn't believe it, and she's almost treating it as an inconvenience at this point. So we're going to jump forward a little bit more to where she takes the test. So internal, drugstore, bathroom, day. In the dim, reeking public bathroom, Juno hovers over the commode with her boxer shorts around her ankles. She clumsily tries to use the pregnancy test. We see the box test sitting on the sink. It's a teen-wear discount pregnancy test. The accompanying outdated package photos of a shrugging 80s teen with a resigned expression. The fine print on the box reads, from makers of Sun Glitz Lightning Hair Spritz. Now, I mean, that bit's hilarious because the branding of this box. If we skip back even a little bit to what she's wearing boxer shorts. A 16-year-old girl wearing boxer shorts immediately tells me she's not conforming to what she's told to do. The fact that she's still buying the discount pregnancy test also tells us a bit about how she is. She's just like, she may be someone who acts not rashly, but quickly. The idea that she is trying to deal with this on her own at this point, rather than going to a parent. She's not terrified in the face of it, at least not yet, as far as we know. And she's just trying to figure it out. Okay, next scene 9, internal drugstore, front counter, day. Juno holds up the developing test in her hand and slaps the open test box on the front counter. Rollo scans it and bags it indifferently. Juno says, oh, and this too. She places a giant licorice super rope on the counter. Rollo says, so what's the prognosis, Fertile Myrtle? Minus or plus? Juno examines the stick. I don't know, it's not seasoned yet. Wait, yeah. There's a pink plus sign again. God, it's unholy. She shakes the stick desperately in an attempt to skew the results. Shake, shake, nothing. That ain't no Etch-a-Sketch. This is one doodle that can't be undid, Holmes Skillet. I love the dialogue. It's amazing. So in this scene, very quickly, again, we learn that she is... this is an inconvenience to her. She doesn't feel this is ending her life. So we're learning about there's a confident nature to her, a very adult nature to her, in the same scene that she's buying a licorice super rope. So at 16, you still have one foot in childhood and one foot in adulthood. And this is a complete split between the two. She has a pregnancy test in one hand and a giant licorice super rope in the other. So just in this first few pages, in these first few words, her character has just poured through onto the page. We know about her. We can kind of get the impression of where she might go with this. We don't know, but all of a sudden we are assuming things. As the reader of this or the viewer of this, we want to be engaged by these characters. So what they do, what they say, and how they look can really, really have a massive effect on how your characters appear to people. And really, we want, as writers, we want the characters to appear to people as we see them. And the skill in that is characterization. And it can take a long time to get this right. And as I've said on previous videos, read scripts. Read Diablo Cody scripts. Read other scripts that you know that are character-driven with rich characters in there. Knives Out and films like this have this amazing level of characterization. You know, the characters are just dripping out of the script. They are so rich, and there's a palpable nature to how they are when you read them or watch them. So read characters, read scripts. I hope this has been of help. We've got more coming, so give us a subscribe, ring that bell. Good luck with the writing, and we'll be back for more soon.